Welcome. Today's post is Google equals Harry Potter plus 3 mini post. Published on October 27, 2023. The first Harry Potter book was published on September 1, 1998. Just 3 days later, Google was founded in the USA. Here are the topics we'll be decoding today. You can always find this list in the description below. If you enjoy this video, please press the like button, and subscribe for weekly full-length blog posts, and shorter, more shareable videos. Let's begin. Readers are getting ever better at finding comms. Even if they can't solve them, yet they can point me to suspicious coincidences, and I'll take it from there. One day you'll be figuring all of it out, I'm sure of it. Like last month when a reader noticed this. September 1, 1998. Harry Potter First Book USA. September 4, 1998. Google founded USA. That is not a coincidence, and I'll tell you why. Harry Potter is the best-selling book of all time and Google is arguably the most popular anything of all time. Our current age is dictated by computers and internet, and Google reigns supreme at the top of that with a 94% monopoly on searching. We are talking about a level of unprecedented popularity. Even the tops of other industries pales in comparison. Moreover, both properties are focused on text, as in everybody in the world has read Google multiple times a day, and most children have also read Harry Potter at least once growing up. The quick answer to the connection is popularity. The symbolism of making something popular. Just like how Harry Potter went from unloved and unknown to the most famous individual in the world with many powerful allies. This itself parallels the book series and is the same reason why the author was an unknown. Look at the very first scene. This boy will be famous, there won't be a child in our world who doesn't know his name. He's officially famous as a baby, and Google had also just been born. The mechanics of how Google makes things popular will be discussed later, but for now let's further cement the connection. We can see some inklings of the connection as the most prominent Google Doodle is about a magic academy just like Harry Potter. But that doesn't answer what the connection is. Even though we identify a connection, we still need to understand intent. Why Harry Potter? What logic is there to making that series the marker for Google? There are many ways to find clues. For example, remember how Google was born 3 days after Harry Potter. September 1, 1998, Harry Potter First Book USA. Plus 3. September 4, 1998, Google founded USA. July 23, 1989, Daniel Radcliffe / Harry Potter born. Plus 3. July 26, 1989, Computer indictment of Robert Tappan Morris. Time to arrest of the creator of the Internet computer worm. First person ever prosecuted for Internet crime. You can ask Google to confirm that. He also co-founded Y Combinator, which itself funded the launch of many of the biggest Internet companies today. Reddit, Twitch, Dropbox, Coinbase and many others. Much like Google itself, this guy is one of a tiny few viewed as an origin for the Internet we know today. Also, Morris, does that ring a bell for that time frame? November 1988, Morris Worm Unleashed, first Internet computer worm. November 1988, debut of Zach Morris Saved by the Bell. Notice they had a pilot episode before, but right after the Morris Worm, they installed a Morris as the main character. The characteristics of that main character student has parallels to the student at Cornell that unleashed the virus. That in turn ties it all together with the book series. Two famous fictional children in school known for getting into trouble with good intentions. Remember how the indictment over the Morris Worm was tied to the actor playing Harry Potter? Well, what about Zach Morris? March 1, 1974. Zach Morris actor born, Saved by the Bell. March 1, 1974. Watergate 7 indicted, Nixon named as co-conspirator. That gives us a pattern. What does this indictment have in common with the other one? Watergate was officially a crime about extracting information from political opponents. It may well be the most famous one of all time. Both comms tie into famous indictments for digging into files plus famous fictional students. I go over Saved by the Bell comms here. The symbol of Zach Morris. The star being from Panorama. Defined as an unobstructed view. A symbol of snooping. The Morris worm. I always thought it was strange there was a meme tied to this show. A meme about how and why Zach Morris has the ability to stop time. This may explain that. This also explains the other characters. The story of the worm is the story about a computer worm tied to a college student. Which is perhaps why the leading female character in Saved by the Bell is named after a college that was part of the story. She famously became the first big-budget porn star with Showgirls. Which came out within a week of Hackers, which was based on the Morris worm. September 15, 1995. Hackers, Morris worm, comms tied to Morris worm to reveal it publicly, exposing. September 22, 1995. Showgirls, Berkeley, from Saved by the Bell exposing herself. He was given access to computers at Cornell, Harvard, and Berkeley. So Cornell was an equivalent to Berkeley, which makes her symbol clear to represent it. Morris regularly visits college symbol by climbing through her window, Microsoft. Why Saved by the Bell? Remember, this is about an internet worm. Back then it was all 56K phones. As in Bell Telephone monopoly. The breakup was slightly before, but Bell was still synonymous with phone lines for 100 years. And lest we think the computer connection isn't represented. His best friend being computer nerd Screech, played by Dustin Diamond. A character most remembered for stalking Lisa Turtle. Define turtling. Lisa is a symbol I go over frequently. It's a symbol of anonymity, much like the endless debates over who the Mona Lisa is. This is why it was attached to computers. May 17, 1978. Lisa Jobs, Steve Jobs' daughter, born May 17, 1978. Japanese Spider-Man debut, Foreign Spy, 1978. Apple Lisa project begins +91987. Steve Jobs confesses Lisa is his 9-year-old. 1987 Simpsons premiere, Lisa, 8-year daughter. Father nuclear plant job. Apple Lisa invented the computer trash can. The Apple Lisa last sold in 1986, and then mysteriously the thousands remaining of this $10,000 system were dumped in a landfill inexplicably. September 22, 1989. First episode of Baywatch, September 24, 1989. Reported, thousands of unused Apple Lisas dumped in landfill earlier in week. Baywatch, watch the water, being another symbol of surveillance. Just like Saved by the Bell, in fact. Baywatch. Bayside. Both symbols of watching the shore for dangers looming, only with Baywatch the focus is on sex appeal and danger in the water. The primary characters from the original Saved by the Bell included Dustin Diamond and Lisa, played by Voorhees. Dustin Diamond forever stalking Voorhees. Comms of keeping data on what? Lisa is not portrayed as mentally ill but is instead evasive. Very first episode involves Lisa being forced into a dance contest with Screech due to a leg injury, symbolism of Voorhees' ops being hobbled by surveillance. The mascot being the Tigers. A comm I've long went over as representing dangerous ops. Some of that last bit was copy and paste from a prior post, as my perspective has not changed, though it has expanded with new finds. When you take all of this together, a clear pattern emerges. It's all about internet tracking of dangerous people. Well, tracking in general, but clearly the internet is where it's all converged. The Morris worm spread across countless computers online in a way that could extract information. It sounds like a solution to the problem of hidden people online working towards dangerous ends. Thus, Google, as tied to these comms of pillaging user information, is a promise to do that in the best interests of its allies. That they spy to identify dangerous individuals, but there is much more to it than just that. Consider Google in relation to Harry Potter. A character nobody knows is suddenly a celebrity everyone knows about. His fame is a critical plot point. The boy who lived, the sudden light switch flip to fame in Harry Potter is a direct parallel for the mechanics of Google. Elevating certain sites into fame, that is. There's more to it, but that explains the unusual ultra-popularity plus proximity of the two. After all, who was J.K. Rowling before Harry Potter? Her being an unknown is a famous part of the story. The story of popularity control. Not necessarily evil, but deceptive at least. Other parts also connect, like Harry Potter's glasses. I believe glasses symbolize looking closer. The symbol of Google being googly eyes. Where did the name Google come from? The answer is a number made to be as close to infinity as possible, and the number itself was named after a popular comic book character running for more than a century now. Not famous today really, but very much so back then. Thus it was likely an important comm that can give us clarity on Google. In fact, I already decoded this. Remember the +3 offset with Harry Potter? What was the origin of that offset? June 20th, 1919, A&W Brown Root Beer. First successful food franchising operation. -3. June 17th, 1919, Barney Google Eyes Brown Horse. -3. June 14th, 1919, A&W Brown First Transatlantic Flight, Arthur Whitten Brown, White +N Brown, Carbonation Suds. The symbolism for googly eyes, as in looking at thing intently. That is the core symbolism, and it was made to represent the color of A&W root beer. The launch of the food franchise. The origin of the countless McDonald's and others. Notice the color scheme. Brown being the most obvious, but even the sliver of red is shaped like the leash. There's more to it than just that, but that's enough to give a basic idea. The point being, googly eyes, just like Google as in people looking at it. Did you notice one more data point in that prior image? In fact, it has no official day, so I'm not sure if it follows the +3 rule, but it is in the same month and highly relevant. June 1919, discovery of proton particle first time shown off. June 1919, first successful food franchising operation. The discovery of a new particle. This is more science rather than actual science and is something I cover frequently. In fact, it ties perfectly into Google. Who created the first website? CERN. Remember the CERN LHC search for the God particle? It took over the internet for a time. What does it mean to search for the God particle? I'll give the official answer after we go through the decoded one. When did Chrome become #1? Mid-2012. Same time the God particle was discovered. That would be a likely coincidence if not for the fact that September 2, 2008, Google Chrome launch, billed as the fastest browser. +8 equals infinity, just like Google as a number. September 10, 2008, CERN LHC turns on, start of a research dynasty. Google launched 8 days before the LHC began its search for the God particle. The Big Bang Day, i.e. starting a new universe. The short answer is that the God particle is what assigns weight to all the other particles, hence the name. Giving mass equals weighted search results of Google. Anyway, I think that about covers Google. Much like Harry Potter's glasses, a symbol of looking. Popularity. Also, a reader pointed me to a GAW post that gave the following interesting fact. A direct connection from CERN to Google. Though it's not as important as the comms to discern intent, it does reinforce Google and CERN's top project as connected entities. Speaking of glasses plus social media. Let's consider today's landscape. The sequence of this Glasshouse post. Notice the sequence of tweets by Musk. 2 talking about penguins plus social media, and in between the new Tesla Glass HQ. Elon Musk leading the pack. Transparency. Looking closer. While it does show him leading the others, it is also adorned with Halloween candy. Moreover, one post involves the one runaway penguin going in its own direction to certain death. Which I think is to parallel X/Twitter pushing transparency while the others continue acting as antagonists. It's all a movie, as I've decoded from countless different directions. Villains are necessary in that narrative, and so they are indeed following orders, even as it seems the opposite. Biden is coordinating his fall with them. I have many posts covering this. It's always continuing, so I never run out. In fact, we are due for another scandal. Okay. I could end this mini post here, but let's go through one more column as it does connect to Google in many ways. Just the name itself, Blink, in relation to googly eyes. Blink-182. I had a request to decode Blink-182. June 1st, 1999. Enema of the State Blink-182 most popular album. June 1st, 1999. Napster first released, origin of popularized mass internet file sharing. Dig into this one, and it becomes clear the symbolism tied to the dawn of file sharing. Note the porn actress on the cover plus butterfly equals transformation symbol on the cover. A transformation, as they were aware, opening the floodgates of file sharing would rapidly transform much of the world. Picking a porn star in particular, as they were aware it would be used for pornography. This ties into many aspects of their other songs/albums. Their next big album, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, officially a joke about masturbation. What motive could they have? They have parodies of the other bands of the time. Symbolism of not just their songs being pirated but everyone. Read lyrics of their top song. Always I know, you'll be at my show, carry me home, as in the song Download. Title, All the Small Things, Like Piracy. Okay, as for the motive? I suspect it's tied to spying, which is what piracy and pornography allows. Note the tower viewer as part of the song. There are other motives for pushing society in that direction, but a big one is that it allows access into computers. As for the name, 187 is a common symbol using the penal code for murder. PC 182, crime of being part of a criminal conspiracy. Perhaps the intent of unleashing mass file sharing was in convincing people to break a law, giving justification to investigate just about anyone. That's just a hypothesis, but looking across their many works there is a clear pattern tied to defecation and nudity. Comms that are typically tied to exposing secrets. Add to that their other pattern glorifying petty criminal acts. It seems to paint a picture. Another motive is pushing culture. That brings us back to Harry Potter. The character focused on after the students is Hagrid. He introduces Harry to the wizard world and is portrayed as focused on taming animals. So, who played him? October 14, 2022. Actor most known for Harry Potter and Tutti Frutti actor died at 72. He was played by a man whose breakout was in Tutti Frutti. Tutti Frutti. This is a song I already decoded but with a different context. The short version is this: in the past it was initially used to symbolize a culture push to make the world have a positive view of Latin America. It was then transitioned using the same name. That culture push was transitioned from Latin America into a push for a change in black and white relations. August 5, 1955, Tutti Frutti, Carmen Miranda death. September 14, 1955, Tutti Frutti Little Richard's breakout hit. Why was it invoked this time? The breakout hit for Hagrid was released the same day as Boys in the Hood. March 3, 1987, Tutti Frutti, Robbie Coltrane. March 3, 1987, Boys in the Hood famous song. Tutti Frutti has a clearly defined history of cultural pushing in the black community, which is why it being released the same day as another big piece of pop culture is unlikely as a coincidence. The film was the breakout debut for many figures that would push the culture in a racially divided way. This is why I suspect Hagrid, whose next hit role was called Cracker, derogatory term for white person, is tied to that push. He played a psychologist. I need to dig deeper as these are just my first impressions, but it allows me to talk about culture pushing. This post goes over it. Comms defining pushing kids into marijuana and masturbation. The justification is pacification. Animal taming. An offensive concept, but it remains to be seen what happened to necessitate it in their eyes. There is likely another level to it tied to blackmailing community leaders. This is how consistency is achieved rather than eventually deciding to have a conscience about it. Which makes me wonder if this meme about Ice Cube now melted that Musk posted is about that stuff being released. Water equals info comm. Ice comms are info comms but critically not moving. Not public. Is that changing? I highlighted this bit here about a damning audio tape. The 4 a.m. raid caught my eye. The new Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. Fourth nominee for Speaker of the House is in his 4th term as Congressman for the 4th District of Louisiana. He tried to block for swing states from certifying Joe Biden. I go over the point of all this in a giant thread here. Originally this was going to be what I posted today, but I realized many of my findings were too important to go through as quick as I'd need to in order to post them. So instead I'm making a short post with a good decode. I came close to shoving in about 5 other threads to fill it up, but I've been asked to try smaller posts and so why not? If you prefer small posts more quickly, that is doable. Either way, I'm starting to spend a tiny bit more time on appearances here. Instead of 99.9% of the time on digging/decoding and 0.1% on editing, maybe go 98% per 2% in the future or something lol. Either way, I want to make this a better bridge for people, and I'm willing to try things to achieve that. For example, want me to start sticking in comms puzzles? Like this, what might this mean? October 15, 1946. MLB, slaughters mad-home famous play. Ignores Mike Gonzalez's stop sign. October 16, 1946. Nuremberg executions of Nazi leaders tied to war crimes/slaughter. I'll probably cover this one when I more fully decode DiMaggio in an upcoming post, but you know, this is just one of many things I could do. Hint: Q linked this PDF and I often talk about what it means in the exact context that answers the question. So, I hope you found this educational. Because it was a short post, the next one will probably be out in much shorter order. Telegram chat. Join the Decoding Blog Telegram group. Begin decoding. Send leads. This has been Google equals Harry Potter +3 mini post.